The Monday, April 27, 2026 regular meeting of the Paris City Council is hereby called to order at 5:30 p.m. For the purpose of this meeting, there's a quorum of the council present. Agenda item number 2, invocation. The invocation will be led by Mayor Pro Tem Savage, and he will deliver the invocation, and then the United States Pledge and Texas Pledge will be led by the City Council. Please rise.
Father in heaven, we just pause today to say thank you. Thank you for this day that wasn't promised, and thank you for all things and everything, Lord. Father, in all things, we give you praise. We ask that you continue to look in on our first responders, Lord. No matter what they're going through, Lord, they continue to show up and help us all out. So, Lord, we ask that you bless them and their families. We ask that you touch us today, Lord, as we deliberate the city's business, Lord. Lead us and guide us that we may be fair and just in our dealings, Lord. And, Father, we will be careful to give you all the praise and all the glory, and it's in Jesus' name that we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
The Citizen Forum.
Persons desiring to address the council must limit their presentations to no more than 2 minutes, and remarks must be limited to matters of city business. Speakers will not be allowed to cede speaking time to others. Unless an item is posted on the agenda, the Texas Open Meetings Act prohibits the council from responding to any comments other than to refer the matter to a future agenda, to an existing policy, or to a staff person with specific factual information. Claims against the city council members, or employees, including but not limited to claims in pending litigation, as well as individual personal appeals, are not appropriate for Citizens Forum. If necessary, the City Council may convene into executive session under Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code regarding any item on this agenda.
All right, so the public forum is now open. If anyone is wishing to come and address the council, please come forward and state your name and address for the record.
James Belcher, 432 Northeast 5th Street. I do tree work, cleanup work, and I've been watching these workers out all day. MA's been on top of it big time. This city's responded to this, and it's been impressive. But we have an old problem here that we have never been able to solve, and that's a man that used to run the garbage trucks, and he's now in charge of the compost plant. It's been a problem in every way possible for a long time. He's the opposite of people that like Mr. Smith, Mr. Law Ranger, on and on and on. The city's ready for a change, and I hope that individual is dismissed, because I don't believe he cares about this town. He's arrogant. And people don't go there. They dump their brush in the streets because they don't want to have to deal with him. And thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else? All right, if not, we will go ahead and close the public forum, and we will move on to the consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved by a single action of the council, with such approval applicable to all items appearing on the consent agenda. A council member may request any item to be removed from the consent agenda and considered as a separate item. Does any member wish to remove any item off the consent agenda? If not, we'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
We got a motion? Second? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. We will now move on to the regular agenda. Agenda item number 15, consider all matters incident and related to the issuance and sale of the City of Paris, Texas Tax Notes Series 2026, including the adoption of an ordinance authorizing the issuance of such tax notes and approving all other matters related thereto. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, thank you. As you know, we have discussed, we have these two critical projects needed. First, the roof for the police department, and second, getting ahead on our order for our fire truck that will still take a while to get here. But this tax note will allow us to do that, and I'll pass it over to Jack to explain.
Pass these out real quick.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mayor, Council, my name is Jack McCliney. I'm with Samco Capital Markets. We represent the city as their financial advisor whenever y'all go out for bonds. This morning, as you all are aware, we went out for bonds for an amount of $2.4 million. We came back with 8 bids, which is very good. They came in from all across the nation. This just speaks to how marketable the city's is in the open market. We ran our initial analysis at a interest rate of 3.7%. Our bids came in with a true interest cost of 2.89. This saved us quite a bit of money on the borrowing, on the interest throughout the length of the financing, and my notes all mixed up in here. And saved us over $37,000 from what we had projected when we had came and presented to you all beforehand. With all of that being said, Samco recommends that you all accept the bid from Hilltop Securities at a true interest cost of 2.89. And if you all have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer those at this time.
Council, any questions, any discussion that we have? If not, we'll go ahead and open the floor for a motion.
I make the motion that we accept the bid from Hilltop Securities for the 2.89 rate.
Fantastic. We've got a motion.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Perfect.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
all.
much.
Congratulations.
Thank
you.
you and great work. We appreciate you guys.
All right. Agenda item number 16, discuss and act on a resolution approving a professional service agreement with Lone Star Developments LLC regarding TERS number 2, Forest Brook Boulevard. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, a quick one. As you remember, back in December, we created TERS number 2 for the purpose of creating Forest Brook Boulevard, which is going to be a major thoroughfare. We are still negotiating a development agreement with the developer, but as a part of our due diligence, we're retaining our usual slate of consultants, including Mr. McCliney and P3 and our bond counsel, Chris Settle, to assist us with running project numbers and the like. To that end, the developer has agreed to a professional services agreement whereby he will deposit with us $25,000, which we can draw against to pay our consultants. And there's a provision that if it gets below a certain amount, and I think it's $7,500, he'll replenish that account. So the recommendation is you approve the professional services agreement for TERS number 2.
Fantastic. Council, is there any discussion on this item? If not, we'll go ahead and entertain a motion.
I make the motion that we approve this resolution with Forest Brook Boulevard.
Fantastic.
Lone Star Developments.
We've got a motion. Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. Agenda item number 17, receive presentation from our Finance Director, Mr. Steve Marriott, about the Finance Department. There you go.
Don, is my slide up?
There we go.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. It's my pleasure to make a presentation about the Finance Department tonight. I will keep it brief because I've got another presentation after this. So, the Finance Department is composed of 2 divisions, the Accounting Division and the Purchasing and Warehouse Division. I assume you can see the picture of the department. I will introduce everybody from left to right. First, we have Raquel McIntyre. She's worked for the city for about 13 years. Then we have Jency Adelot. I'm probably slaughtering her last name. She's worked for the city for 7 years, and she's in purchasing a warehouse. Then we have Caitlin Ginn. She's worked for the city for about 2 years. Then we have Myra Rogers, who's also over here. She's been with the city for 5 months. Then we have myself. I've been here for about 6 months. Then we have Sean Steinkamp. He runs the warehouse and purchasing, and he's been with the city for 8 years. Then we have Kimberly Hendricks. She's been with the city for about 6 years. And then in front, we have Jackie Iltis, and she's been with the city for 31 years. The duties and responsibilities of the accounting division, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some, so please forgive me if I do. We process all the accounts payable invoices for the city. We also process payroll for all the city employees. We process all cash receipts. We maintain the accounting records and internal controls to allow for completion of an audit. We do grant accounting, reporting to all the grant agencies, so on and so forth. We do budget preparation. A lot of that falls on Myra, but I'm working with her on it. We do accounts receivable billing, such as for hangar leases and ground leases, things like that. We maintain all the capital asset records and update insurance coverage based upon changes to those records. As I said, we obtain the annual financial statement audit. We coordinate it, but we get interaction from a lot of different departments to get it done, and we appreciate that. We prepare the monthly financial statements that are presented to you each month, and we take responsibility for investing city funds. The warehouse and purchasing department is responsible for maintaining the city store where all the departments go and get the products they need, whether it's valves for water lines or things to that order, so that they can do their jobs. They also assist other departments with making purchases. They have the knowledge of where they can buy the things they need and help them with that. They maintain inventory records, and as part of that, they perform 4 physical inventories a year, and they provide centralized shipping and receiving. So when people don't know where their products are, that's probably where they're at. So, and then they maintain the city's uniform program. Both departments work together, pretty much hand in hand. We strive to provide excellent customer service for both our external and internal customers. With that, like I said, I was going to be brief, so I'll be happy to answer any questions that anybody has on the departments or divisions.
I don't have any questions, but I just want to say, you guys do a fantastic job with your reporting, and you've really taken this department a long way. You all have done a fantastic job, and it's good to see. I wrote down the variance of tenure with seeing, hey, 13 years, 7 years, 2 years, pretty much half a year, 8 years, 6 years, 31 years. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So that's really good, and having that experience is fantastic. So glad to see that things are going really well.
Well, thank you, sir.
All righty.
Okay.
Well, we will go ahead and move on to agenda item number 18. Receive presentation from, again, our finance director, Mr. Steve Marriott, about the March monthly financial report.
Good evening again, Mr. Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and members of the council. Tonight, I will briefly walk you through the March financial reports. This is the first time I've done this, so I'm hopeful that you will provide guidance on what part of the presentation you like or what you'd like to hear more of, so that I can provide better service for you going forward. We'll start with the general fund since it's the main operating fund of the city. Year-to-date, general fund revenues were 61% of the budget. It's normal for revenues to be ahead of budget this time of year because property taxes are front-loaded. So we collect most of the property taxes in, November, December, and January. So we're going to be front-loaded at this time of year. On March 31st, property tax collections, were 91.7% of the budget, which demonstrates what I was saying. Sales tax collections at March 31st were 53.8% of the budget. However, it's important to note that the last 3 months, the collections have been less than they were last year. So that could be a sign of things to come, and it could just be a fluke. You just never know. Hotel occupancy tax collections were 45.6% of the budget and have decreased by approximately $146,000 this year. Once again, that could just be a fluke. Could be something that we have something that draws people to town and we pick it up in one quarter. You just never know. Ambulance billings were 48.1% of the budget and have decreased by approximately $540,000 this year. I believe that we've discussed before that part of the reason for that is we've been short-staffed, so we haven't been able to operate ambulances for transfers. So that is a large part of that decrease. Franchise fees, and when I say franchise fees, I mean the fees we collect from Encore or TXU, all those fees. They were 46.6% of the budget at March 31st and have decreased by approximately $25,000 from last year. So that's something we can make up in 1 month. Building permit revenues are approximately 27% of the budget and have decreased by approximately $268,000 thus far this year, but building season's just getting started, so we could make that up pretty quick. Interest revenues are 53% of the budget and have increased by approximately $24,000 from last year.
Is it okay if I pause you for 1 second?
Certainly.
I'm sorry. The reason why I am is, so March would be considered halfway.
Yes.
So when we're saying 61% of the budget, we mean what we budgeted for that revenue. So if the overall revenues are at 61%, that's 11% above what we budgeted overall. And if we're talking about like sales tax collections, which at 53.8%, it's 3.8% higher trending than what we budgeted. But as Steve has said, some of this stuff comes in early or comes in more, more sales are active in the summer, and so it's hard to say. But when we're saying percent of the budget, except for the top one, we're talking for that line, and that the end of March would be the 50% mark.
Thank you for that clarification.
Yes.
Yes. General fund expenditures totaled approximately $16.6 million, or 44% of the annual budget. Try to say it that way. This is an increase of approximately $696,000 from last year. Salary and benefits expenditures have increased by approximately $539,000 or 5.4% from last year. That's expected with pay raises and everything. And then on page 9 of the monthly report, there's a table that breaks out the expenditures by department. I'm not going to go through all of those, but I'm happy to answer any questions if at the end, if there are any.
So we're trending under budget right now, total, at 44%.
Correct.
But that can look misleading sometimes because we may have big projects that we have that we haven't paid out all the way on yet. So it's good to keep track at where you're at. We're trending under budget, but that doesn't always We have big
And-
purchases we maybe haven't bought yet and things like that. So we'll just, that's why we have such a good report, because you'll be able to watch that as we go and see how we're trending.
And we probably have some expenses, like project expenses, that are more in the summer than
Exactly.
than they
We'll
are
be
in the winter.
paying, like, we're paying as we go, but there are things that we end up buying this summer that we don't have expenses for
Sure.
the rest.
Are medical claims and things, are those into this number at all for employees or,
No.
no, okay. just-
No. We're not self-insured, so they don't impact our budget in that regard. We just pay monthly fees.
And we're in a pool. So let's say that we have a huge medical claim, which we do every year. We'll have some that, somebody gets an accident with 300 employees, things happen. We are in a pool with other groups and cities, so it helps to even that out. We're not self-insured, but we share risk with a bigger pool than just us,
Okay.
which is helpful.
I just didn't know if it impacted your budget at all. Thank you.
That's a
No,
great question.
you're good. It does overall, because
Yeah.
it'll drive up your rates if you have issues, so.
That'll be a next year,
Yeah.
if it happens this year.
Okay, as far as general fund results, thus far, we have cash and investments to cover about 269 days of expenditures. Now, you will note in the report, it measures those numbers differently because it's based on revenues, but I'm using what is in the policy as far as fund balance to describe here. As our revenues are front-loaded somewhat, I am anticipating that number will fall as we go throughout the year. And if we are spot on with our expenditures and our revenues, we will have about 206 days by the end of the year. And I will say that I think that's the lowest it's been since '22, I believe it was. So,
Going into our reserves.
yeah, '23 and '24 were kind of skewed because we had all the ARPA funds that we were spending. So we spent money out of ARPA funds that we might have otherwise paid out of general funds. So that's how we built up our balance. Now, work on the utility fund. Year-to-date revenues for the utility fund were approximately $7.4 million, or 33% of the budget. Now, that number would be scary if we just looked at it and didn't go on, because we're only at 33% of the budget. However, the way the city has done transfers before, historically, we net transfers in and transfers out. So we had more transfers out, so that's reducing our revenue number since it's in a revenue account. Eventually, we're going to get to the point where we're going to break up transfers in and transfers out so that we can get a true number instead of netting them. It'll make your revenue numbers look a little better, I think. Let's see. Without debt service transfers, the revenues would have been approximately $10.4 million, or 46.5% of the budget, so closer to where it should be. Revenues were pretty consistent and total approximately I skipped a step. Revenues were constant with the exception of the transfers out. Okay. Utility fund expenditures totaled approximately $6.1 million through March 31st, or 28% of the budget. Once again, that's a good sign that your revenues, or that your expenditures are that far under budget. But once again, we'd spend more money on projects during the summer, so that definitely could go up. Last March expenditures totaled approximately $6.8 million, so we're only $700,000 difference from what we were last year, and we're $700,000 lower, so. Airport fund, the airport fund revenues were approximately $352,000, or 31% of the budget. Revenues decreased by approximately $143,000 from last year, or 28.9%. Fuel sales drove most of this decrease, and they decreased by about 144,000 or 33.8% from prior year. Lease revenue for hangars and land leases and everything were fairly constant.
Do we know,
Go ahead, please.
do we know what drove the fuel costs, the fuel sales down?
I believe we've sold less. You'll see there's also a reduction on the expenditure side,
Yeah,
too.
I'm saying, do we know what was driving that?
Myra, do you have anything to add to that?
I think it's more just activity. So we looked into like sales and looked at the law, and it's just activity is less than last year.
Sometimes it can be really weather related as well at airports. If you have a really good weather year, you'll see your fuel cells explode, and then it's a lot to do with weather as well. So, and then also we're going into the busy months now. So hopefully we'll catch some of this up, because let's just pray for good summer weather. They're all flying around and buying our fuel.
Yep.
Good.
Well, then it could also be that, with fuel prices being up,
Yeah,
maybe
that-
people aren't doing as much pleasure flying and
That
things
is
like that.
huge in sales, thank you, yes, for airports, fuel, because what we're paying for fuel, getting from one place to the other, sometimes they'll just drive instead. Our consultant, Shane, he's been driving instead of flying. He has a plane, but, because the fuel prices get out of control.
As long as you don't drive a diesel. If you drive a diesel, you're just
Yeah, you
out
might
of
as well
luck.
fly.
Out of curiosity, forecasting out, do you think that we're going to be in the black potentially? Are we trending towards the black for year end? I know Paul had worked so hard to kind of get us there.
Oh, for the airport, no,
No.
No.
no way.
Okay. I think everything's stacked against us at this point, unfortunately. It's a weird year, so but I was just
Yeah.
curious if we would be trailing in that direction or not.
I don't think so. I think we might be better than last year, but it's really too early to tell. So.
Yeah, and we added a person as well, because we got into that really sticky situation when you only have two and one goes out sick and we had an emergency. So I think if we continue forward with good momentum, we may get there in a coming year, even with the added person. I don't think it'll be this year, but who knows? Fingers crossed.
Airport fund expenditures were approximately $401,000, or 35% of the budget through March. The largest factor, they decreased by $152,000, or 27% from last year. And once again, the largest factor was decrease in fuel purchases, about an $81,000 decrease there. Oops. The monthly financial report also includes details on staffing, investments in capital projects. I did not prepare any comments for those items. However, I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody might have. And that concludes my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions or take any criticism's not the right word. Constructive comments on things that you would like to have more information about.
I know I talked to Ms. Beverly about this, and I think this is fantastic. I want to see us as a council feel even more bound together within the financials, and especially as we get another council member, a brand-new council member, and potentially another council member coming into the future, for us to really feel strong on the knowledge of our financials and really understand that, hey, these are the ins and outs. And that way, if anyone ever has any questions, we've got it. But it's great. I'm really happy that you're presenting this, because the people of this city, our citizens, should have that right to see, hey, what are the ins and outs of our finances here? Sure. They pay tax, they have that right. And so you guys breaking this down really is empowering, and I really appreciate that. And as far as looking at all the reports and everything that you put together, spot on. I feel good about it, and I want to just see, like, if anyone else, is there something specific or anything else that we want to add to help us to get more clarity? I think we should do that. I mean, Yeah.
Yep.
Is there anything different that we want to see or anything you want to add or anything?
It's really good. Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Well, we're happy to present, so thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. We will now go ahead and move on to agenda item number 19, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Business Regulation, Article 5.05, solicitors, vendors, and handbill distributors by adding Division 3 donation boxes. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes, sir. On April 13th, we kind of discussed this in quite a bit of depth to an ordinance to deal with the proliferation of donation boxes, some of which don't have any identifying information. Some of them were made with shoddy materials. Sometimes there's 3 or 4 of them right together on the same block. And we discussed a proposed ordinance at that meeting that we had developed using the City of Arlington's ordinance, which has been court-tested and survived the court test in the federal courts. So what I have brought you today is just the final ordinance on that, based on direction. At that last meeting, I provided an effective date of 6/1/2026 to give staff an opportunity to gear up and be able to accept permit applications.
Fantastic. Council, any discussion? I know we spoke about this at the last meeting, but any discussion from what Stephanie has presented? If not, we'll go ahead and vote on it and hear a motion.
I make a motion that we adopt the ordinance for the donation boxes as written by Stephanie.
We've got a motion. I hear a second.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0. All right. We will now move on to agenda item number 20, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Appendix A, fee schedule, Section A3.002, Development and General Construction and Planning Permit Fees of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Paris.
Mayor Pro Tem, members of council, I think I got my slideshow backwards. Let me. Yes, okay. I had the fee schedule before or after the ordinance, the building codes. So this is an amendment to the Appendix A, our fee schedule. We try to do an annual review and bring this to you annually to kind of keep our fees consistent. What I would like to do, I think, first is just show you how our fees are comparison. These are our comparison cities that we use for across the board. This is, you can see for new construction of a 12,000 square foot single family house, the total fees for Paris that they would pay here is $625 for that permit. And as you can see, the only other one that's less than us is Big Springs, and Texarkana is kind of close, but both those are very complicated fee structures. That's if I actually figured it out right. They charge a base permit fee, then a fee for electrical, a fee for plumbing, a fee for HVAC, and then a fee per fixture outlet. So every, it's like $1.50 for every outlet you're putting in. And so our fee schedule is very simple, is what I'm getting at. We keep it simple, kind of a flat rate. So the new fees that we're introducing is battery storage. It's new technology. We don't currently have a fee for that. And then these on the bottom, this ICCPC, this is a plan review fee. It's if you approve the code adoption, this is a new way of compliance. So this would be a fee for that. Removing these fees, the solar sign contractor, housing fee, those are duplicate or obsolete fees, so we'll be removing those fees. And then we have a discounted fee that we would like to do is a 50% reduction in single-family and duplexes if they sprinkle the building. Then the accessory building, we're going to delete that one without MEPs. We already kind of have it. It's a little confusing, trying to clarify that up so that it's, it's an easier process. Changing that just better reflects the way the permits are issued and the actual inspections are performed. Then on the reinspection fees, we're adding an escalation so for somebody that's getting this exact same repeated red tag over and over again, we're going to escalate their fees for that. Hopefully that'll bring some of our red tag violations in. So on the fee schedule, do we have any questions or comments? I know we kind of...
No, sir.
Okay. Staff recommends that you approve the amendment to the fee schedule.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, sir. Council, any discussion, any questions? And if not, we'll entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we accept the ordinance amendment for the construction and planning permit fees.
We got a motion. Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Motion carries. We'll go ahead and 5-0 for approval. All right. Now we will move
Mayor,
on.
if you want to maybe abbreviate this long thing instead of reading
You sure
that
you don't
whole
want me to
thing,
just read it? I can just read it.
you can, but I'm gonna let you fudge a little bit
Yeah,
on
no,
it
no.
if you wanted to.
We're here to have a meeting. We're going to have some fun.
Know yourself.
All righty. Agenda item number 21, discuss and act on an ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 4.02, Construction Codes and Standards of the Code of Ordinances, repealing the adoption of the 2021 International Building Code, the 2021 International Residential Code, the 2021 International Existing Building Code, the 2021 International Plumbing I'm assuming that's going to say code. The 2021 International Fuel Gas Code, the 2021 International Mechanical Code, and the 2020 National Electrical Code, adopting the 2024 editions of the International Building Code, the International Residential Code, and the International Existing Building Code, the International Plumbing Code, the International Fuel Gas Code, the International Mechanical Code, and the 2024 International Code Council Performance Code, ICCPC, adopting the 2023 edition of the National Electrical Code, adopting the 2024 International Property Maintenance Code for citywide application, adopting the local amendments, and adopting the full revised text of Chapter 4, Article 4.02, including contractor registration requirements, contractor classifications, and contractor responsibilities as set out in Exhibit A, providing for conflicts, repealer, severability, and penalty, and declaring an effective date. Staff, do you have a presentation?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem, members of council. Since he read that entire thing, does that mean I have to read all the amendments?
Let's not do that now.
Okay, good. Exactly. Okay. So, of course, for the background, city adopted in 2017, changed from the 2006 to the 15, and then 2000, I just lost my place here. We adopted the 2021 codes in I think it was 21. I think we adopted it in 21 also. Yeah, so currently, we're still under the 21 codes. Building codes go in a 3-year cycle. Every 3 years, the International Code Council comes up and they amend the codes and update them because of construction practices, new material. There's a whole lot of reasons that they do this. We try to bring you those new codes the year after adoption. So after North Texas Council of Governments gets their amendments for Texas, we'll review those, review them with local contractors, then come in with our amendments that kind of brings them into actually our area so they apply to us better. The importance of this is, again, our BSEGS rating and our ISO ratings. This is a very big determining factor on how our rating is. And in 2007, or before they adopted the 2015 codes, our BSIGS ratings was 9, 10 is the worst. And then after we adopted the other codes, we got it moved up to 6. We're still in the process of having our BSIGs audited. They haven't got back to me. I'm hoping that we get at least a 3. I'd like to get us, like I said, again, a 2 or even a 1. We can hope. But the biggest thing in the 2024 codes is that they've totally 100% reformatted the building codes, made it a whole lot more user-friendly. It's better tables, better layout, better readability. There's just far better codes. They've also increased the compliance methods, allowed a lot more materials and methods that are approved, got rid of some of the more confusing codes that are out there. A lot of people think every time the codes are adopted, they're more restrictive. They're not. If they see something that's not working, it's not creating a safer building, then it goes bye-bye, So, like I say again, a lot easier to use. The more compliance options is a big thing for developers and contractors. And then, of course, they modernized our standards. One of the other big things is the expansion of the property maintenance code, expanded citywide. This is strictly focusing on health and safety. Again, we're not going to go through there, but if you go through there, you can see where a lot of sections and chapters, it's dealing with stuff that's just not enforceable or a little bit over-restrictive. We just delete Chapter 4, gone. We're not adopting that. And we also put into there an escalation method so that this is a critical, life safety, non-critical matter, and define those not just with what's in the property maintenance code, but what's also in our ordinance, so that code enforcement and building inspectors can go out and they can say, be uniform across the board, saying this is a life safety, this has got to be fixed within 48 hours. This is non-critical, and so it'll maintain consistency across enforcement. And then another big one is the ICC Performance Code. This is an alternative compliant path. It's a performance-based path instead of a prescriptive, which means in a prescriptive method, a lot of contractors like that, it's thou shalt not, thou shalt. Really simple type of a deal. It's an easy code. Performance code is more risk assessment. A lot of what building code does is evaluate the risk and then mitigate it. This is what the performance codes does. It allows for specific use for a contractor or developer, say, this is my risk, this is my hazard, here's how I'm going to mitigate it, whether through sprinkling, whether through other type of fire suppression, whether through more egress. It's up to the designer to come up and mitigate that risk. So this is a huge door that opens for developers. And again, the end of it is it just clarifies enforcement, it aligns the local needs, and it removes unenforceable items. Staff would recommend that you adopt the 2024 building codes as a family. And any questions you might have, I can answer those for you.
Council, any questions?
Thank you for simplifying this. I believe it's going to be more of a workable, user-friendly document for construction workers, and also it'll make it simple for you guys to enforce, but we're not taking away life safety measures because that's important, so thank you.
Before you take a vote, I do want to brag on Duke for a minute. I've done this twice. This is the third time that we've adopted updated codes. It is a beating. In that folder, you have an ordinance that is over 100 pages long because of the various amendments that make them more applicable to our area. When I've done this before, it's taken me days. Duke got it to me almost fully formed. All I had to do was do some formatting changes and change some things in the actual ordinance itself before it got to the amendments. He did a fantastic job, and I don't tell you that enough, so thank you.
Thank you. Spell check helps a lot.
That's pretty awesome. I'll say this, Mr. McGee, I do have one quick question. And I know whenever we went through this a number of years ago, adopting at that time what was kind of more current, are our neighboring cities, are they also getting to a point where they're adopting kind of more recent stuff, or are they kind of behind?
The trend is going to the 24 codes. A lot of, like our sister cities and stuff like that, to be truthful, a lot of the smaller cities like us and everything are actually transitioning into the 21s and 24s. Some of the larger cities, not so much, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's just harder for them to, here it's real easy when you talk to contractors and locals and you explain that kind of stuff, But the trend is, and the push, the industrial push will be pushing to get everybody past the 24 codes because of that formatting change, because of it being a whole lot easier. It's just a lot less confusing and easier. And I believe that probably 27, probably by the 30 codes, anything past the 24s won't be, like they don't do anything past the 12s right now. They don't test for them. They don't. You can still get them because my hometown in Kenai is still under the 2012 codes, which is just idiotic. But that's so that is the trend. The trend's going to be going, and I think the performance codes are going to be making a lot more leeway. It's going to take time for architects and developers to get used to that, and then trying to. There's gives and takes in it. We have one building actually here in the city that used the performance code, the tavern, what's that? Yeah, Tyler's Pizzeria. They did performance-based to begin with, and then the problem with the performance-based, if you change use, you change risk. So sometimes what you did to mitigate this isn't going to mitigate this, where when they were switching, they were the Tyler Pizzeria, and then they went to something else there for a while that we had worked with a contractor to have an action plan to get them compliant. They had to do a lot to change that, but now someone's taking it back to what it was. Their compliance method's super easy because the building's already, that risk is already there. So that's one of the downsides to it, but the other side is, you can get somebody into a building and still mitigate the risk without increasing the hazard, or having to jump through all the thou shalt not type of a deal.
I appreciate that. That's a big deal. I don't know how many people actually really get that, but that is a huge deal to see, the development's part of this from the city's aspect to get to this point and have a standard, because that just says, hey, we're safer, we are looking at things a little bit more efficiently, and I appreciate that. I mean, that's a big task, and I know that's a lot to do. I know the last few years ago, whenever we had kind of re-upped, and especially on the fire side, there was a lot of moans and groans, but you know what? That just helps us become safer. And,
Yes.
At the end of the day, that's key, so
Yep.
appreciate it. Council, if there's no other questions, we'll go ahead and open the floor for our motion.
Make a motion to approve the ordinance amending Chapter 4, Article 4.02 as put forth in item 21.
Fantastic.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Motion carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we will now move on to agenda item number 22, convene an executive session pursuant to section 551.072 of the Texas Government Code to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property if deliberation in an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the position of the governmental body in negotiations with a third person. The time is 6:19 PM, and the city council will convene in an executive session. Agenda item number 23, convene an open session and possibly take action on those matters discussed in the executive session. The time is 6:56 PM, and the city council is now in open session, and there's no action to be taken. We will now move on to agenda item number 24, consider and approve future events for the city council and/or city staff pursuant to resolution number 2004-081. Council, does anyone have anything? I don't have anything. I just wanted to say real quick, on behalf of our entire community and council, everyone, the actions that city staff and Encore, our regional partners, put together over the storm that we had this weekend was huge. That really, got our community together and really helped each other with all of our neighbors. And so this is a really good deal. It was a bad situation, but it was a blessing to see that our community is still united together. So thank you for Public Works, streets, everyone, Encore, all of our regional partners that have come together in our city and county. So appreciate all that everyone has put forth.
And all the volunteers in the city, everybody that volunteered to help out.
It's huge.
And the county showed up for us in a big way as well. They did not have as many issues, so they brought their equipment in and assisted well into the early morning. These types of situations are so stressful and hard on the whole community, but the bad situations bring out the best in our community.
Yes.
And it gives you an opportunity to just feel grateful for our staff, for our leadership, and for all those people that come out and show up in a big way.
Yeah. Thank you all so much. And that being said, we'll go ahead and move to agenda item number 25, adjournment.
Make the motion, we adjourn.
All right, we got a motion
Second.
and a second. All right, there we go. We're adjourned.
I was looking for Mickey.